Hi there, this is Datila, and welcome to the TNAIW GoGo Power Rankings show. As always, I'm joined by my two co-hosts. First off, I want to start to the person on my right, the star of the show, the one and only. Allegedly, he has no relation to Steve Macklin, Burt Maclin.
Thank you for the intro as always.
Of course, you're welcome. And to my left, he's not here at the moment, but he will. The one and only, the godfather of the Power Rankings, Lucha, 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 Lucha. All right, so
Ow, my skull.
Definitely, we are on the road to Multiverse United, and
the strong survive.
Yes, only the strong will survive. So, who do you guys think made the Power Rankings this week?
I think you're going to see a lot of the usual faces, just i.e. champions, and then mixed in with like just people who have been, I don't know, really put in a big effort to show up lately. So I would say, Josh Alexander and Mickie James are the obvious choices, but then somebody like the Death Dolls are coming back just because you haven't seen them, but they have been on TV more. So I expect to see them as well.
I don't expect to see the Coven in the top 10, but I'm just interested to see if they will make an appearance, just based off of the statement they made, with the debut of them being, aligned together. So it'll be cool to see if the committee gave them maybe a little too much love, maybe not enough love, maybe the right amount of love. I don't know. Let's find out. I love the controversy.
As Eric Bischoff always said, controversy creates cash.
Damn right. Shout out to Uncle Eric.
All right, but before we get into the Power Rankings, Burt, how do you join the Power Rankings committee?
It's pretty simple. Just message me on Twitter at Burt Maclin 11. If you're an Impact fan and you can get out a quick top 10 every week, that's all we're really looking for. So Burt Maclin 11 on Twitter. It's that simple.
Eventually, we will have a Burt signal, which you just flash into the air, and Burt will join you.
Exactly.
All right. Well, with that being said, let's play these Power Rankings. Number 10, Eddie Edwards. Number 9, Tag Team Champions, the Dead Dolls. Number 8, number 1 contender Steve Macklin. Number 7, Frankie Kazarian and Rich Swann. Number 6, X Division Champion Trey Miguel. Number 5, Tag Team Champions Bullet Club. Number 4, Time Machine's Kushida. Number 3, the Juggernaut Jordynne Grace. Number 2, World Champion Josh Alexander. Number 1, World Champion Mickie James. Wow, interesting Power Rankings to say the least. But let's start. Burt, who on this week's Power Rankings surprised you the most?
I think just because it was more of a showcase match, I'm not going to call it, use the word evil word squash match, but
you used the better S word.
Jordan being at number 3, I think just is very not shocking, but I think it just kind of shows how, even though she's not even champion, she's getting a title shot, like how strong she's booked and like how protected she is in the company. They don't like make her look weak at any point. So her being at number 3, that really jumps out to me.
What about you, Lucha?
2 things. One, like Burt said, Jordan being at number 3, like that's kind of crazy for me. Not even trying to like take power away from her dub that she got on Impact. It was in a showcase match. So that showcase dub, I didn't think that warranted a number 3 spot. You know what I'm saying? Especially with the tag champs here who dropped to 5. But the one that really gets me is Eddie Edwards at 10, being an accessory to a attempted vehicular homicide. And I guess that's good enough to get your number 10 on the Power Rankings. You just have to be an accessory to a crime.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, first of all, I have to agree with both of you guys. Number 3, Jordynne Grace, did surprise me because she had, as you like to say sometimes, Lucha, an enhancement match.
I like Burt's phrase of showcase match. That sounds even better. You know
Okay,
what I'm
fine.
saying?
She had a showcase match. I mean, yeah, she got the victory, but it was like, really? Really? Okay. And then, as you said, number 10, Eddie Edwards, he ran over um, PCO or was an accomplice to PCO. And like you said, it's kind of surprising that all you had to do is run someone over and you automatically make the top 10. So if that's the case, how come Rakishi isn't on this list?
Yo, can you imagine? Like, okay, let's go back in time a little bit. Where do you think not Santana, Homicide Hernandez and Eddie Kingston would have been ranked after they got that kid ran over
They should be
back on Impact?
They would have probably been ranked pretty high since the committee seems to love that kind of thing.
I would have gave him top 5. I forget the kid's name, and that sucks. I hope that kid's good.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. But another one that surprised me on here was actually Frankie Kazarian and Rich Swann, who were number 7, because correct me if I'm wrong, but weren't they just involved in a backstage segment and they didn't even come out or have
Didn't
a
they
match?
fight on BTI?
I don't watch BTI, so you're gonna have to.
I could have, because I think that's why. Yeah, they did fight on BTI because that's why I put them on my thing. I went and looked at ImpactWrestling.com where they have the full results in case you missed the show. So that's yeah.
Let me put it to this way to anybody watching. I don't watch BTI. I don't watch AEW Dark. I don't watch Elevation. I don't watch WWE Main Event. And I don't watch NXT. So anything that happens on those shows, I don't know. All right. Number 4, Time Machine's Conchita. To me, he did get a victory over Jonathan Gresham, and Jonathan Gresham is a former world champion. So I feel like number 4 is probably a good spot for him. But wait, hold on a second. Never mind. I take that back because he's he's above tag team champions Bullet Club. So what is it about Kushida defeating former Ring of Honor champion Jonathan Gresham that pushed him ahead of the tag team champions Bullet Club?
For me, Kushida at number 4. Because it wasn't like I was gonna put because Mickey's number 1 this week, and she did have the main event, win the main event, and she is a world champion. So that's 2 things that usually seem to get a lot of play. But for me, this was the first time in I think maybe a couple months where the main event wasn't the best match on the show, and that to me this week was Kushida versus Gresham. I thought that was the best match on the show. So Kushida winning that match for me against a strong opponent like Gresham, I'm completely okay with him being number 4, even though if you look at who he's ahead of 2 champions in Trey and the Bullet Club. So, that might warrant some controversy. I'm okay with it this week.
And I'm actually kind of on the flip. I'm not okay with it because, like, yeah, it's Kushida. He got a victory over John Gresham, but he's still clumped in under the Time Machine banner, and Time Machine again, lost their titles. They've been on a slide, a downhill slide, if you will. But also in the same breath, Kushida is challenging Josh at Multiverse for the belt. So yeah. I don't know, the Time Machine act in the top 10, they're getting really carried by Kushida. That's got to be the only reason why they're that high and above the tag champs.
I don't even know why they went in this week as Time Machine because the Machine Guns weren't even on the show. I personally voted for Kushida as a solo act this week. I don't know about you.
I did Time Machine, but then put Kushida like in asterisks, is like saying that's who I'm voting for, but I'm still clumping them together. Like if Chris Bay has a one-on-one next week, I'm not going to just have Chris Bay in the thing. It's still going to be Bullet Club. So I like to keep them together. If
I could go back real quick, just because I mentioned it, Trey Miguel at 6, I think obviously the committee doesn't like facts because Trey Miguel's promo, he was just laying down facts. The disrespect that this man has been facing. He didn't get I forget, he said he didn't get a match at Sacrifice. And then they're doing this thing where they're giving him a mystery opponent. They're not letting him tell him who he's going to have to repair. This man's money, and I feel like number 6 is kind of weak.
You're right. And honestly, I would flip him and Jordan Grace and everything makes sense.
Okay, that's fine. I'm fine with that.
I have to agree with you guys because I would flip them. But also, too, Trey Miguel didn't even have a match. He was just backstage.
Yeah, but
That's
he
a-
talked his shit.
That is true. Not to mention Johnny, the swingman, Johnny Swinger was also in that same segment too.
I heard the scuttlebutt that somebody voted him. Someone gave him a was it a number 1 vote?
Yes, I believe it was.
I don't know.
Someone likes some swingman, dude. You know what I mean? Someone's a big fan.
I'm like the swingman. I've been a fan of Johnny Swinger since he got Swingers Palace.
I love Swinger. Like, hell, y'all remember episode, I think it was like episode 1, 2, or 3. I was live from Swinger's Palace because, you know, we were just kicking it. So I'm cool with Swinger, but like I always say, these top 10s, like, this is a very prestigious class. You shouldn't just have anybody in here, you know, without like a strong case for you to be a top 10.
Giving out participation trophies here. You know what I mean?
Thank you. Because if we were giving out participation trophies, the grand championship would be back.
Exactly. Yeah. And if you look at this list, there's somebody that people should believe in who's not on the top 10. Where's he at?
You took it from me. I'm right there with you. Does the committee not believe in Joe Hendry anymore?
I'm so disappointed in the committee. What the hell committee? Like, you guys do not believe in 252 pounds of pure motivation?
Talk your shit.
Like, what the hell? Like, who does not believe in Joe Henry? I believe in Joe Henry. Burt, do you believe in Joe Henry?
I do, but let me just say, like, my problem is more because, you know, I'm not going to lie. I voted for Joe Henry last night. I didn't vote for Joe Henry this week, and it's for one reason. I voted for the man that reminded us who he is, and that was Moose. I had Moose in my top 10 just because I think sometimes he gets lost in the shuffle, and he is a former world champion. But with that being said, I didn't see a lot of votes for Joe Hendry, which I wish I would have. And going back, you know, I think Joe Hendry deserves a little more votes than Johnny Swinger does at this point, even though Johnny Swinger is like the guy that when you watch a movie and they bring out the credits, he's the guy that says, and featuring Johnny Swinger. You know what I mean? Like, he's the last guy on the credits. You know, that doesn't mean he's not in the credits, but he's not the star. You know, he's not top billing.
He's not you.
Yeah, no. He's not you, Burt. That you get top billing on everything. All right. So I want to touch upon number 1 world champion Mickie James, especially because Burt, you did say that the main event was not as good. But also too, there's an asterisk there. Asterisk because Deonna Purrazzo helped Mickie James. She helped her, if you guys remember.
That's the only thing that took away from that match stream, but no, I didn't make it a negative. But still, let's not take away Mickie James. Finally, I think. Because she was, except for like one person gave her like 6 or something. I think she got all 10s this week. It was a clear sweep. It was unanimous. You know what I mean? It was like that one judge in UFC that goes 10-9 instead of going unanimous. She should have got all 10s this week, in my opinion. So I am, and number 2, Josh, again, Mickie had a match, but I just think Mickey's on a whole other level right now. I think it's Mickey's time. Josh was champion for 300 days. I think it's Mickey's time to be the focal point of the show, the rankings and the show itself.
You know, before you go and before we touch on Mickie, you know what? Her victory shouldn't have an asterisk on it because you just said, she won with help from Deonna Purrazzo. Her victory is so powerful that it brought her rival, her longtime rival, you know, she was forced to help. And it's not like, you know, she did it because she wanted to and Deonna and Mickie are about to start this team or whatever. Like, you got to look at Giselle Shaw on the other side. She had Jay Vidal and Savannah Evans. So say Giselle Shaw won. We're gonna put her at number 1 with an asterisk too, just because she had outside help. I mean, you know, it don't matter how you get there, as long as you get there.
Fair point, Lucha. Fair point. I can't argue with that.
The Death Dolls being number 9 really doesn't shock me, just because I think at this point, and it's like I said, like the single parts, everyone's a big fan of all three of them. But I just don't think people at this point, for whatever reason, really care about this reign because, again, it's just almost like they're there because of the champs, not like – because I forget how they should be going out there like and making the belt instead of the other way around. You know what I mean? Like, But right, there's just they're not putting down having any like legendary matches, or like there's no feud for anybody to sink their teeth in at this point. So them being number 9, it's like I probably could have put somebody ahead of them, like if you wanted to, like I wouldn't have had a problem putting. Again, I know a lot of people don't like seeing people who lose matches on the show, but Gresham should have been on there for me. I think Gresham is, he had won last week, lost this week, so I would have put him maybe over the Death Dolls. I could have been persuaded that.
Okay, now I remember my train of thought. Okay, first of all, if I had a hat, Bert, I'd tip it to you because you said it last week. You said the Bullet Club would not be number 1 this week, and so that we should let them soak in be number 1 last week. So I got to give it to you. How do you do it, Bert? How do you do it?
Well, they didn't have a match, so that's just pretty easy to forecast when someone doesn't have a match where they're going to be on the rankings. Usually when they're not champions, they're probably not going to be there, but usually when they are champions, that will kind of carry them a little bit into the rankings. So
that's not necessarily always the case. Case in point, the Motor City Machine Guns. They spent most of their reign on the outside looking in, or at most at number 5. That was like probably their peak. I could be wrong. If we got some power ranking statisticians out there, you know what I'm saying, fact checkers, let us know. To my knowledge, I don't think they touched number 1. If they did, it was only a couple times, maybe when they were the main event.
Yeah.
Okay, I do. So number 9, as you were talking about the Death Dolls tag team champions, I'm really surprised that debuting Kylie King was not on this week's power rankings, or Killer Kelly, or Taylor Wilde. Instead, I could have put one of them in that place at number 9 over the Death Dolls, because like you said, the Death Dolls didn't even have a match, and they're just on the rankings because they're champions. But Taylor Wilde, the debuting Kylie King, even Killer Kelly would have been a much number 9. So
you could get rid of actually, and it pains me to say this, I'd get rid of Steve Macklin, number 8. Yes, he's number 1 contender, but you just said it. Usually, debuts carry a lot of weight as well with the voters. So, and also too, I'm blanking. Lucha, what was your point on Eddie going back? Did you think Eddie should have been on the countdown? No. So yeah, I would honestly have keep Macklin, Death Dolls at 9, maybe put Taylor Wilde and Kyler King at 10 then. Kyler King at 10. Between
you two and everybody on the committee, the disrespect to Rhino is kind of crazy to me.
You're right. That is disrespectful. He should be on here. I know you voted for him.
I did. I put him, and like I did, like I was saying with Bullet Club and Time Machine, I put it as Heath and Rhino because they're a unit. So,
yeah.
I put them together like that. But I guess nobody else really gave a damn. And I'm like, are we doing this personally? Or are we doing this like, some people got some ulterior motives in that committee.
Because
they're a little crooked.
There should be no reason why he's not on the list, because he did have a match and he did win it. So it's like, yeah, the committee. I almost want to say I blanked on that one too, because when I was ranking everyone this week, to me was a little hard because I was trying to put the people not necessarily all the champions, but the people who are, in the major roles in the company. But again, Rhino should be on there since he did have a win, a pretty big win, if you ask me.
I just looked at the tally. They only had 5 points.
And Johnny Swinger had 10 since he got voted for 1. He got voted first.
And he got the same amount of Rhino got the same amount of points in a win that Giselle Shaw got in a loss. That's crazy.
The committee definitely, just like with everything, everyone will have their favorites. It's hard. Sometimes you have to kind of separate, who you're going to go through. I mean, who you're going to vote for. You know what I mean? It's kind of like what happens like when you're on a team with the coach's son. You know what I mean? They're going to play favorites. You know what I mean? That always sucks when it happens. But, that's why you have to this is actually fun because you don't know how people are going to vote each week. So
you were saying, Lucha? Sorry.
Oh yeah, the different viewpoints on how people vote. It may seem like I curse the committee and I have this long-standing rivalry with the committee, but the committee is really a beautiful quilt of views on Impact Wrestling. That's why I always say that this is like one of the most the realest forms of knowing, like, you know, who's basically the conversation of Impact Wrestling. Like Josh Alexander's been on the Power Rankings consistently for just about a year now, which was pretty much when he won the title, right? Like a couple weeks off of when he won the title.
Yeah.
And he's been there every single week. Jordan Grace, I think she only had like a few weeks where she wasn't on the Power Rankings the last year, and those weeks were like the last 2-3 weeks or so. Like she's been in and out since she lost the strap, and then Mickey's been in there consistently since the rodeo. You know what I'm saying? So we have a good look on who the people think are the top in Impact based off of how the show goes.
Mm-hmm.
So I like disagreeing with the committee.
I'm starting to think that the committee is full of the bunch of Melvins. Who let them in?
Well, the only way to sway the committee is to be part of the committee. So,
like I always used to say on the Big Show, like I used to always say, vote or cry. Vote or cry. You can either vote and use your power for your opinion to make change, or you can not and cry about it, and you crying about it don't matter because you had the choice to change this and you chose not to.
Fair point. That is a fair point. But to go back to what you're saying about Rhino, yeah, he did win, so I'm surprised he's not on this week's Power Rankings either. I felt like he should have been on there too.
It's disrespect. That's all it is. It's disrespect.
I definitely do agree that disrespect, the utter disrespect. And Brett, I was so shocked and appalled that you wanted to take Steve Macklin off this week's Power Rankings. He's still the number one contender, and allegedly you're not related to him.
He must not be in the other room today.
There's 10 spots, and those 10 spots matter. You can't just be biased and throwing it. Like I said, like, I'd be a hypocrite if I was preaching being unbiased and I was being biased by putting Steve Macklin, I'm a fan of, on there. All he did was come in, say he wanted to be part of Josh's team. Josh told him no, and that was it. And like Lucha said, Rhino deserves to be on the list, so you have to take out somebody if that was going to be the case.
Well, what about Bully Ray Masha Slamovich? I mean, Bully Ray cutting a promo, and Masha Slamovich helping Bully Ray out.
My case for keeping Steve Macklin on the Power Rankings is just like I say how I break it down. It's the show from the prior week show versus momentum as well. And I mean, you listen to Steve Macklin talk for 5 minutes, and he'll tell anyone with 2 ears, maybe even 1 ear, he'll tell anyone who will listen.
It's hard not to.
How many more world champions do I have to beat? He's beaten so many world champions in the last calendar year that it's not even funny. So he hasn't. It's not like he's lost any steam. Like, he just keeps winning and keeps beating people, especially if you're a former world champ. So he's got more of a case to have this spot on the Power Rankings than just about anybody.
You're right though, because it makes sense for what I'm about to say, just because March Madness selection show was tonight. When you look at Steve Macklin's resume, he's got a lot of wins versus, top 10 opponents, you know what I mean? So, like, that resume, you know what I mean? Those big wins, you know what I mean?
Like, let's look at the guy that's right over him, like the guy that's in a makeshift tag team, Frankie Kazarian and Rich Swann. Steve Macklin just beat Rich Swann.
It's true.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Steve Macklin beats Frankie Kazarian.
Right.
All right. I think we've talked about a lot. We've covered everything. Is there any last minute comments or remarks you guys want to say before you get ready to sign off?
Like I always say, just pay attention. There's 2 shows this month, so I think every show is important, so make sure to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Lucha?
We want to talk about, we want to give people stuff to watch. If you want to, after you get done here, you want to go watch any more of Talking Nonsense about Impact Wrestling's content on the YouTube channel, you can go check that out. There's more than just this wonderful Power Ranking show. We got past episodes of LOL TNAIW. Watch that, laugh at the content, laugh at the terrible production. We got over across yonder, across the pond there, we got the homies Nixon and Mr. Impact himself, Craig. on Talking Bloody Nonsense. You can check them out. Beautiful content with them. And then as always, there is the main show, the one show, the big show.
Well, where is the big show?
I need like
the
a semi
big bad show tonight.
I'm just waiting for the point to where we go and start hitting the second version. Well,
You do it so much better, Lucha. You should keep doing it. You do it so much better.
Y'all check out the main show, the one show, the big show with the one and only Jeff every Sunday night at 8 o'clock. Live on twitch.tv/TNAIW channel.
All right. Well, you guys, thank you guys all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified not only when our GoGo Power Rankings drop, but as Lucha said, whenever they upload the replay of the big show, the main show, which is live every Sunday at 8 Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. And of course, check out past episodes of LL TNA, and don't forget to check out episodes from our friends across the pond, the Talking Bloody Nonsense with the MIC Craig and Peter Nixon. And with that being said, we'll see you guys next week.
Banger after banger after.